we go. Season 2 of Song of Solomon begins today. You guys ready for this? All right. Hey, so we are picking it back up today in our study. We've been off for 5 weeks. We're about to begin again this book of Song of Solomon. Hey, I do want to celebrate some things with you, though, as we, in the A-Life series, the A-Life discipleship journey is just beginning. I want to commend you and just celebrate so many of you taking your next steps. And the goal is 100% of us that call Abundant Life home, taking our next step in all 6 of our core values. So many of you have signed up for the Next Steps class, beginning of the discipleship journey, or so many more have signed up for Discipleship 1, to be discipled. So many of you are turning around and discipling another. That's part of our discipleship process in this journey. So maybe you're taking your next steps in living sent, signing up for mission trips. I just want to commend you and say, way to go. Can we celebrate it right now? Because if I could, I would give everybody here a high five, chest bump, big hug. All of you watching online, so many of our church house members as well around the country, just so grateful for each of you. Hey, last week was Commitment Sunday with our generosity portion. Many of you had time and really prayed carefully about how to fill this out. And I just want to say it's not too late. Some of you need to pray a little bit longer. Some of you weren't here last Sunday. So be sure before you leave today, the seat back in front of you has one of these. And I just want to celebrate this. Somebody sent me a text this week. I just want to celebrate this with you. This is the win of the A-Life. So a mom in our church that Chris and I know well sent me this text, says this: I do have to share that blank. This is my son. Not my son, her son. We'll call him blank, okay? I do have to share that my son made his 2-year financial commitment this past Sunday. He's 15 and works at a place 1 day a week. My heart was filled with joy when he leaned over and told me he wanted to give $10 a month, and then I helped him set up his recurring gift. It's not much, but this was his personal choice without any direction from us. Made a mama's heart proud. Made a pastor's heart proud. I'm certainly makes Jesus proud. Hey guys, this is what it looks like. This is generosity. Taking his first step, giving sacrificially. And here's what I want you to know about generosity. To God, it's not the size of the gift, it's the size of the sacrifice. So I'm just so proud of so many of you taking your first step, trusting God for the first time maybe with this part of your life, giving some dollars to kingdom priorities. And God's gonna see amazing things in the kingdom, and we're gonna see God do amazing things in us in the next 2 years. I'm so proud of you. Now, as we get rolling again, our study of Song of Solomon, remember, I have written a book called Living Your Love Story. It's not the book, it's a book about the book. We're studying the Song of Solomon, that's the book. But this is a verse-by-verse commentary on the book of Song of Solomon. I have good news. If you don't like to read, it is just recently released on audio. Yeah, you don't have to read it. Now you can listen to it. All right. And here's the reality. I actually narrated it myself. Yeah. I realize I'm a preacher. I'm not a professional reader. You know, there are people who do this professionally, all right? It's not me. So I admit I actually listened to it this week, which was kind of weird. And I realized, man, I'm not a great reader. Hopefully I'm a better preacher, but here's the point. I narrated it myself. It's now ready on audio if you want to listen to it. Clayton King, a dear friend of mine, actually did the foreword for the book. He narrated his portion too. And to get us back into the book of Song of Solomon today, I've asked Clayton to come preach today out of the book of Song of Solomon. I'm so grateful he wrote the foreword for me, a great kingdom leader of our generation, a dear friend of Abundant Life. Give it up for my friend Clayton King right now, would you guys? I love this man.
Praise God. It's good to be back at Abundant Life. I don't even feel like a guest anymore. I feel like I belong here. You know, it's what happens when you feed a stray dog. They just keep coming around. And Pastor Phil, I just love you so much. I'm so proud of this book. I've written some books myself. I know what it takes to write a book. And I've been in ministry 38 years. When I preached my first sermon, Ronald Reagan was president. That's how long I've been doing this. And I have read so many books on marriage and sexuality and intimacy. I have never read a better book on the Song of Solomon than Living Your Love Story. And I'm honored that you would have me come and preach in this series to kick back off this series through the book of Song of Solomon. If you don't have this book, you really should get it. I was honored to write the foreword for it. You know, when I was a kid in Christian school, I went to public school and high school, but as a kid in Christian school when it would rain outside and we couldn't go outside for recess. Sometimes our teacher would make us stay inside. And me and a couple of my naughty buddies would go to the back of the room and get the NIV Bible. And we would flip over to the Song of Solomon. And we would giggle and we would snicker. I was like 10 years old. I had no idea just how racy it really was. But the thing about the book of Song of Solomon is it's in the Bible. And we don't have to apologize for it. We don't have to be embarrassed about it. And when I was younger, I didn't realize what deep and rich theology is also right there in the book of Song of Solomon. And so for today, I'm just honored to get to talk. I'm going to preach from two specific passages. Chapter 8 is where we'll start, and then we'll go to chapter 7, and then we'll go back to chapter 8. And so I hope that you've got your Bibles with me, or you can look up on the screens for the next 2.5 to 3 hours while I preach this message. I do need to get something out of the way before I start. I just need to get this off my chest. Back in January, I predicted and I prophesied something that did not come true. And I need to confess this to you because we are in the greater Kansas City area. I predicted and prophesied that the Chiefs were going to win the Super Bowl again. And I am now a false prophet because that did not come true. But it's not the first time I've gotten it wrong. For about the last 27 years, I have prophesied that the Dallas Cowboys would also win the Super Bowl. And you can boo me if you want to. You'll never hurt me as bad as the Cowboys have hurt me for the last 27 years. Now that I've got that out of the way, let me tell you the title of the message, if you'd like to take notes. I want to talk to you today for those of you who are married and for those of you who are not married or maybe no longer married. This is important for all of us. I want to talk about keeping the fire alive in your marriage. Keeping the fire alive. And I've been married coming up on 26 years. This morning I actually posted not only my sermon notes, I like to do that every Sunday that I preach. I post my handwritten sermon notes on my Instagram account. I also put a picture of my wife and I up there. We took a 20-year trip to Italy when we celebrated 20 years, and she's my best friend. She's my partner in ministry. She's the best kisser that ever lived. Take my word for it. You'll never know, but you can take my word for it. And one of the things I'm committed to do now at this stage of my life, I'm 52, she's 50, we're 26 years into our marriage. I want to keep the fire alive. I grew up on a farm. We had a wood-burning stove in our house. I love a good bonfire. I've actually got a solo stove on my back deck that I use during cold winter months whenever me and my buddies will get together and we'll build a fire. And one thing I know about a fire is if you don't work at it, that fire is going to die out. And when we look at Song of Solomon, specifically here in chapter 8, we're going to see that the woman in the relationship actually compares love to a fire or a flame. So let me begin by making this statement. I believe that you'll agree with this. Falling in love is just the beginning. Because honestly, y'all, anybody can fall in love. Have any of you ever been in love with a crazy person before? Like before you married your spouse? Anybody date a crazy person? Would anybody like to admit you married that crazy person? And then you realize they weren't the crazy person, it was actually you, okay? Anybody can fall in love. Isn't it funny how we call it falling in love as if gravity does the work for us? I even noticed this yesterday. Now that I'm getting older, I still go to the gym and I still play a lot of ball, but I'm tripping over nothing all the time. And I just tend to fall. I was at the Kansas City airport yesterday, and I'm texting Pastor Phil to let him know, hey, I've just landed. And what I have to do now when I fly into Kansas City is whoever's picking me up, I have to let them know, I've just gotten off the plane. I'll be there in 45 minutes. Because there is an 8-mile desert in the Kansas City airport. You have to walk, it feels like forever. And I'm just wheeling my little suitcase, and I tripped over the floor, and I almost fell. And that's the way a lot of us think about love. It's something that happens to you. It's almost like magical, accidental. And I get the concept of falling in love. I get it. That's not bad. But that's not enough. And that's the point. Falling in love is not bad, but falling in love is not enough to sustain you for decades. So what I believe is important for us to understand is that walking in love is actually the real treasure. Walking in love for a lifetime. That's the real treasure. Now, cards on the table, my wife and I are now empty nesters. Our boys are 22 and 19. My 22-year-old graduated college in December. He's in seminary now. My 19-year-old is getting a degree in kinesiology and physical therapy. And they've moved out. And when they moved out, it really broke my heart. I was so sad. I was in a bad mood for about 3 days. And then I realized, me and my wife have the house all to ourselves. I actually like this woman. We have a friendship. And it kind of rekindled all of these feelings. And I was like, okay, it's time now for you and me to keep the fire alive. So side note, I told my boys when they moved out, if you show up to this house unannounced at any time, day or night, there is no guarantee what you will or won't find when you walk in this house. So if you do not want to be embarrassed for the rest of your life, you better give us a courtesy call before you pull up in this piece. Am I going to have to work to get some of y'all to relax a little bit this morning? Because trust me, that's total PG compared to what we're about to read in the Song of Solomon. Now, I want to show you some things, 3 simple biblical truths from Song of Solomon that will help you keep the fire alive in your marriage. Truth number 1, you got to stoke the flames. You got to stoke up that fire. You got to keep the flame hot. I grew up with a lot of fire. Grew up on a farm. It was my job to split the firewood and keep the firewood on the porch. And I can just remember early on when my dad was trying to teach me how to be safe with fire, he would teach me if you want the fire to stay hot, you've got to keep feeding wood into the fire, son. And if you don't, it's going to go out. And isn't that the way love is? I mean, marriage is that way. And as we age in our marriages, it's so easy to just get distracted. It's so easy to just get busy. It's so easy to have other priorities that take our eyes off of one another. But I love the fact that God, in His sovereignty, included the book of Song of Solomon in our canon of Scripture, because you already know this, but this is more than just a love story. This is also a picture of the love that Jesus Christ has for the church. And we're the church. We are the body of Christ. We are the bride of Christ. He is the bridegroom, and we belong to Jesus. And there is a deep, rich theology here that you can see. The love that Jesus has for His church is in many ways similar to the love that a husband and a wife have for each other. So I want to read to you from Song of Solomon chapter 8, verses 6 and 7. Keep in mind that the woman is talking here. So you have a man and a woman, and they are lovers, and they are together, and they are talking about their love and their romance. And I want you to hear what she says as she compares love to a flame. She says, "Set me as a seal on your heart, as a seal on your arm, for love is as strong as death. Jealousy is as unrelenting as Sheol. Love's flames are fiery flames, an almighty flame." There are 4 words here I want to point out to you. Flames, fiery flames, almighty flame. Man, she is fired up about love. She loves her husband. She is sharing with him her feelings toward him and their relationship, and she uses the symbolism of a fire or a flame. And we even use that in our language when we talk about marriage and love. We talk about the spark. And we talk about the flames of love. We talk about what it feels like to be in love, and we compare that to feeling something on the inside of you in your heart. Look at what happens in verse 7 as she goes on to say, a huge torrent cannot extinguish love. Rivers cannot sweep it away. If a man were to give all his wealth for love, it would be utterly scorned. In other words, you can't buy love with money. You can't buy love with wealth. No, it is something that you choose. It's something that lives inside of your heart. Love is not paid for from your wallet, your purse, or your credit card account. Love is experienced in the depths of the human soul for another person, and it's such a strong power that a mighty river can't sweep it away, and a torrent cannot extinguish this flame. But for a lot of us, we would, if we were being honest, we would say, well, I've kind of felt that flame go out over the years. It's just natural, and I don't feel that same spark. I mean, can I be honest with y'all? Can some of y'all remember, because I do, you remember when you were young and you would get so turned on a date with your boyfriend or your girlfriend? You were so crazy. You were so young. You had so much vim and vigor that you wanted to make out in a car. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but I've done it. I cannot tell you what it would take for me and my wife to make out in a car right now, because I don't want to have to go to the chiropractor for an adjustment. Amen? Here's my man on the front row is like, I can testify. Has it happened to you, brother? Is that your wife right there? Okay, we're not going to talk about this, all right? I mean, so of course, as we get older and the years progress, things change. But just because you don't want to make out in the backseat of a car doesn't mean that the fire has to go out. You can stoke that flame. There are ways to do it. So I asked a friend of mine who's a fireman, what is actually, I was curious, what is necessary for fire? Like, what is required for fire? And he said fire requires fuel, heat, and oxygen. These three elements are necessary for fire to exist. And so I want to ask you, as we look at this today, are you putting fuel, heat, and oxygen into your marriage? Or are you just coasting? Or are you still making investment into the relationship? Because there are some things that can help us make those investments. Love requires three things too: your head, your heart, and your hands. Your head, to where you are thinking about your spouse, you're thinking about your marriage, you're planning things and ways that the two of you can connect. You're actually thinking about your husband and his needs. You're thinking about her wife and her needs and desires. It also requires your heart. I've even learned this in my relationship with Jesus. As I get older, it's easy for my heart to grow calloused. And the same is true in your marriage. We must keep our heart involved, keep our heart soft towards our spouse. I've even noticed in marriage counseling and in my own marriage, I have to be careful of this, that the more comfortable you get with each other over the years, the easier it is to become sarcastic, to pick on each other. You know each other's ways. You're the world's leading expert on your spouse. You know their idiosyncrasies. It's easy to, in good faith sometimes, poke fun at little things that can hurt feelings. It's easy to let the heart grow a little calloused and familiar with our spouse. But love also requires hands. What does that mean? It means effort. It means work. It means that we have to actually put effort into the marriage. Attend a marriage conference, read a marriage book together. By the way, side note, if you haven't already gotten a copy, get both of you, husband and wife, get a copy of Living Your Love Story and read it together. I promise you that will benefit your marriage. You actually have to put some effort into it. Work with your hands to do some things that help the two of you stoke the flames. And remember what she said to her man. This thing I feel for you, this thing that we have, this relationship, it is like a fire. And the great rivers of the earth cannot put out this flame. But you know what can put out the flame? Boredom, busyness, familiarity, your kids. I know some of y'all have kids. A lot of y'all have kids. So there's some kids in here. You know what we told our kids when they were little? We love you, but we don't love you like we love each other. It's a different kind of love. And when we used to tell our kids, we would go on date night, and our boys would be like, I want to go, I want to go. No, you cannot go. You cannot go on date night with us. Well, what do you ever do for us? My son asked me that one time. I said, we give you everything. And if you want me to be a good dad, leave me alone for a few hours and let me go date your wife. I can remember when we were flat broke. I'm talking broke as a joke. We lived in Boiling Springs, North Carolina. We would rent a room at the Holiday Express, $59. We would pay for a babysitter. The babysitter would come to our house and keep our kids. We would give her $30. She would keep our kids. We would go to the Holiday Inn Express. We would rent a movie. We would order a pizza. We would have sex, and we would go to sleep. And that was the most perfect date, because that was the stage of life that we were in. You got to put some effort into it if you want to keep the fire going. Let me show you point number 2. This will be really helpful. Okay, now we're going to dive deep into some very descriptive, may I remind you, biblical language. I will not apologize for reading the Bible to you, but we're going to talk about some really cool stuff right now. And I want to encourage you to keep flirting with each other. I just met a couple in the first service that are in their 80s, and they've been married to each other twice. They were sharing the story with me. They were married, then they were divorced for 18 years, and then they got married again. And I've asked so many older couples, what's the secret? And so many of them tell me, keep flirting. Keep flirting with each other. Can I show you how she flirts with her husband and he flirts back with her? Well, this is specifically the husband talking. I want to read some verses here from chapter 7, verses 1 through 8. Buckle up, buttercup. The husband says to the wife, the man says to the woman, how beautiful are your sandaled feet, princess. The curves of your thighs are like jewelry, the handiwork of a master. Okay, pause. My man has got a tight game. I'm going to show you what a good lover he was. First of all, he notices her shoes. He knows that she's a woman. Therefore, by nature, she loves shoes. And this particular day, she happens to be wearing sandals. He notices her feet. She probably just got a pedicure. And he's noticing her painted toenails and how beautiful they are. He's paying attention to these little details. He is flirting with her. My man got game. And then he calls her princess. He knows to use words, to say things to her that let her know you are valuable. And then he notices her thighs. The curves of your thighs, girlfriend, are like jewelry. He knows that women like jewelry. I've never met a woman that doesn't like a nice piece of jewelry, a ring, a bracelet, a necklace. He has studied his woman. And he even says that her thighs are like the handiwork of a master. Thigh master. Here it is, the very first thigh master, right there in Song of Solomon chapter 7. And you thought an infomercial invented the thigh master. Nope, the Bible did. Now, we're about to get a little bit more graphic here. Your navel is a rounded bowl. He's inspecting her belly button. It never lacks mixed wine. In other words, girl, I get drunk on you. Your belly is a mound of wheat surrounded by lilies. I'm just going to move right on past that one. Verse 3. This is the Bible. Your breasts are like two fawns, twins of a gazelle. Can we talk about this for a second? Full disclosure, I asked Pastor Phil's permission last night if I could stop here for a moment. I told him what I'm about to tell you, and I asked him if it was okay. He said, Clayton, if you don't say that to them tomorrow, I'm saying it the following Sunday. So, I was wondering, first of all, obviously, he is noticing her body. And he specifically mentions her breasts, and he compares them to two small, baby, brown furry, woodland creatures. Can we just own this for a second? This is awesome. So I started thinking, why would he compare his wife's breasts, her bosom, to two baby deer? And then I started thinking, well, okay, I see. If two baby deer walk up to me, or you, what do you want to do? You want to touch them. You want you want to you want to pet them. You want to spend some time with them. I'm a little embarrassed right now. This didn't happen in the first service. I don't know why. But I love the fact he is celebrating her body and her beauty. He is flirting with his woman. And that's not the end of it. Look at verse 4. He says, your neck is like a tower of ivory. He's noticing the features of her body. Your eyes like pools in Heshbon. He's noticing her eyes. You know, one of the reasons just in pastoral ministry that I've noticed marriages falling apart is when one spouse stops paying attention to their spouse. It leaves a hunger inside the soul of a husband or a wife. Nobody should compliment my wife's body but me. No one should ever verbally tell her anything about her beauty like I do. In so many marriages I've seen that when a husband stops flirting or a wife stops flirting or they stop complimenting each other, it leaves this desire, this gnawing hunger in the soul. Just want someone to notice me, and there are plenty of other people outside the marriage that will notice and that will swoop in and wreck a home. I actually had that conversation Friday with a good friend. That exact scenario took place in his marriage. And now his marriage is over. So I want to encourage you, take one from the Song of Solomon playbook. Notice her neck. It's like a tower of ivory. Notice her eyes. They're like pools of water. Okay, now this one, your nose is like the Tower of Lebanon, looking toward Damascus. Now, we could get tripped up on that. We're Westerners, you know, our idea of romance is a little bit different. But this shows strength and this shows character. He's noticing her facial features. And in a world where all of us, male and female, struggle with so much insecurity, in a world that puts so much emphasis on outer beauty and body composition, in a world that is so obsessed with appearance, I just want you to know that God has given you, if you're married, God has given you the most beautiful gift in your spouse. And you need to celebrate their beauty, their character, their integrity, and yes, their body. You need to celebrate it so much that it's almost embarrassing. Because if you don't celebrate it, be careful, somebody else might try to. Don't let somebody else flirt with your spouse. Flirt with them yourself. Oh, there's more. There's a few more verses. Your head crowns you like Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel is the tallest mountain in Israel. I've been there 12 times. Snow-capped almost all year round. It's beautiful. That's what your head looks like. You're crowned with this beauty. The hair of your head is like purple cloth. A king could be held captive in your tresses. He knows that her hair is important. He notices her beautiful hair. I love the imagery, the symbolism. I love the poetry with him flirting with her. Look at verse 6. Oh, it's about to get really good. How beautiful you are, and how pleasant my love with such delights. You are beautiful. You please me. You delight me. Verse 7, your stature is like a palm tree. Your breasts are clusters of fruit. Okay, he is literally speaking to his wife in a sexual way. And one of the things I've noticed in marriage is that in our culture, because our culture is so obsessed with sex, some of us are embarrassed by it, even in our own marriage, to talk about it, to express our desire to our spouse. And I want you to know that your sexuality, if you're married, your marriage is a playground for you and your spouse to have fun. And I don't just mean sexually, but also sexually. And he is in love with her, and he wants to enjoy her and for her to enjoy him. And when he talks to her this way, this is a private conversation between the two of them that God in his sovereignty made public because he put it in the Bible, so that maybe some of us as we get older, and hey, let's just be honest, you might be thinking, maybe I just don't have the desire that I used to, because we all know bodies change. Bodies change. Things happen to us. Gravity, age, babies, male pattern baldness. Things happen, right? But just because time changes us, it doesn't mean our love for our spouse has to diminish. He calls her a palm tree. He's talking about her breast again. And then in verse 8 he says, I said, I will climb the palm tree and take hold of its fruit. Okay. May your breasts be like clusters of grapes, and the fragrance of your breath be like apricots. Can I just point out 2 helpful tips for you? I want to encourage you to do this. Pay attention and show affection. That's what he's doing here. He is paying attention to her, and he is showing affection to her. I promise you, if you're married and you have good thoughts about your spouse, and you're thinking in your head, wow, she is an amazing wife. She works so hard and does so many things and serves so many people. Thinking that in your head, that's good. You may feel so many things in your heart for your husband. He's a provider. He's a protector. He leads our family so well. Oh, I love that man. You can think all of those thoughts in your head. You can feel all of those feelings in your heart. But if you don't verbalize it out loud to your spouse misses out on the encouragement of being verbally affirmed by their favorite person in the world. Nobody can affect my wife with words like I can. Nobody can encourage my wife like I can. And also, no one can hurt her, crush her, and affect her negatively like I can. And so I want you to see this. I'm pointing it out. I know there's some really graphic imagery here. That's okay. This is a man that's crazy about his wife, and she knows it because he tells her. Now, you may not be verbal. You might be thinking, Clayton, there is not a chance in the world I'm going to say that to my wife today. Well, maybe try it, see how it feels, or maybe write her a letter. Write her a card. Write her a love letter. What I would encourage you not to do is say these kind of things to your spouse in front of your kids. Unless you want to get rid of your kids and just have some alone time. Then talk like this and your kids will disappear magically. But I want you to keep paying attention. But paying attention is only half of it. We must show affection. And to keep flirting for me and my wife, it means this. And I tell her this all the time. Honey, I'm always attracted to you. I'm going to always pop your rear end when you walk past me. I'm going to always reach over and give you a little pinch. I'm going to always walk up to you and give you a hug in the morning. And if I ever quit doing that, you better be worried. I'm serious. I don't hug other women like that. I have no close female friends on earth. I have one, my wife. She is the only outlet for me to express desire, love, affection. I'm her only outlet for that part of her heart, her desire. And so let's get into our minds. This is how God meant for us to relate to each other. And you can keep the flame alive if you'll keep flirting. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the line is. I'm not getting into that. I'm going to go on to point number 3. I'm going to let you figure that out. But I want you to try it because Song of Solomon shows us exactly how to do it. There is one more truth I want to give you to help you keep the flame alive, and that is find the time for fun. Find the time for fun. Professional marriage counselors often will say this, and I follow a lot of them on Instagram and social media. They'll say that when they see a marriage fall apart, they can oftentimes trace it back to a lack of fun in the marriage. And this is something that my wife and I now, as empty nesters, we are rediscovering how to have fun as a married couple. And this is actually part of the book of Song of Solomon. Look at chapter 7, verses 11 through 13. Now we're back to the woman. Okay, so now she's speaking again, and she's talking about the two of them having some fun, mixing it up, doing some new things. Listen to what it says in verse 11. Come, my love, let's go to the field. Let's spend the night among the henna blossoms. Now, she is trying to encourage him, let's go take a trip. Let's go take a walk. Let's go to the field. Now, it's springtime. I know it's springtime here too, but in South Carolina where I'm at, I'm not sure if y'all have pollen here. But when the pollen begins to fall from the trees, it triggers something in my wife's DNA. Sneezing, coughing, and this desire to go to Lowe's and buy $300 worth of plants and flowers. And when we first got married, y'all, can I just tell you, if I live to be 1,000 years old, I will never, ever have a thought to myself, you know what I want to do today? I want to plant some flowers in dirt. I will never think that. Now, I might think I want to go kill a turkey, I want to go kill a deer, I want to go catch a bass, I want to go see wrestling, and it's not fake, it's choreographed. Don't tell me pro wrestling's fake. It's not, it's choreographed. I might have those thoughts, but my wife, this is something that's fun for her. And for years, I would try to find ways to avoid it. I would try to book speaking engagements on Saturdays, because I knew that she was going to ask me to help her. You know what I've learned to do now? Embrace it. It's fun for her. I used to tolerate us planting flowers. Now I actually enjoy it. We did it last Saturday. My hamstrings are still sore. But you know what that is? It's fun because it's something we do together. Come, my love, let's go to the field. Let's spend the night among the henna blossoms. She wants to plan a camping trip. Now, I'm not saying you got to go on a camping trip, but man, when is the last time you tried something new? When is the last time you went to a new restaurant? When's the last time you took a hike or you took a walk with each other? Look at verse 12. Let's go early to the vineyards. Okay, they've spent the night among the henna blossoms, and there was some stuff that went on that night. Bone chicky pow pow, like some stuff went on because they're married. They woke up the next morning and she goes, okay, now let's go to the vineyards. It'll be fun. Let's see if the vine has budded, if the blossom is opened, if the pomegranates are in bloom. We've already established what pomegranates are symbolic of. She's seducing him. She's saying, let's go have some fun. We're married. This is what we're supposed to do. And there, I will give you my caresses. In other words, I like spending time with you, husband. I want to be with you, husband. I would rather spend time with you than anybody else. So let's go to the field and take a walk. Let's go and spend the night. Let's get up the next morning and go to the vineyards. Let's go have fun together. I will give you there my affection, my caresses. The mandrakes give off a fragrance, and at our doors is every delicacy, both new and old. I have treasured them up for you, my love. She is planning something fun with her husband. And I want to point out these words to you, both new and old. You know, in your marriage, if you want to keep the flame alive, you figure out what works for you as a couple, and you do that, and you try new things to see what you enjoy. Can I just be honest with y'all? I'm 52. I travel for a living. I'm a pastor and I'm an evangelist. I've been to, I think, 49 out of 50 states and 58 countries. I live in airports and hotels. I like being home. I love my house. Like, there's a college football game 20 minutes down the road at Clemson University, 85,000 people at Death Valley. Unless somebody's going to give me a free pass to the club and a parking pass that's right by the stadium, I'm like, I could sit in my house in a recliner and eat my food and I can go to my bathroom and not be around 85,000 drunk people, I think I'll just stay at home. And I love home. Home is fun. My wife and I, we enjoy cooking meals together. We enjoy watching a series on Netflix or Prime or something together. We enjoy that. But you know what else is fun? Switching it up. We know what works for us in the old. We've been doing that for 26 years. But we're trying to discover new things to help us have fun. So when our boys moved out, we decided to get not one, but 2 dogs. We've turned into dog people. And I cannot believe I'm about to confess this to you. But our dogs, their names are Theo and Melba. One of them is a golden doodle and one of them is a toy poodle. That is the most unmasculine word that has ever come out of my mouth. And I love those silly little white creatures with all of my heart. We take them on walks. I take them to get groomed. I give them a bath. There's something new that we can do together. There's a lot of nights where, the sun's about to go down and she'll look at me and I'll look at her and she'll be like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Well, you know what I want to do." And she's like, "Let's go for a walk." Like, wasn't what I was thinking. But we go on a walk and we talk. We talk about our children. We talk about the Bible. We talk about politics. We talk about our world. It's new for us, but it's fun. We've also decided we both love live music. And so recently, it was a couple years ago, we spent the money and we bought tickets and got a hotel in Atlanta. And we went to go see the Eagles. The real Eagles, not the Birds. I'm talking about the band, Hotel California, the Eagles. And we watched these old guys play music for 3 hours, and we had a blast. We like to go see movies. We like to try new restaurants every once in a while. We like to do fun things with other couples. It could be a pottery class. It could be a dance class. It could be taking a cooking class with each other. It could be going to a tractor pull. Okay, not the tractor pull. But I want to leave you with this one little piece of wisdom that I believe we can see from Song of Solomon, and that is simply this. When you're busy or bored, and many of you are, break the pattern. Don't just do the same old. Try some new things. Mix it up. Go to a marriage conference. Read a marriage book together. I got my wife for Christmas this year a marriage, it was a box. It was called the marriage box, and it's cards that we will take out every night before we go to bed. We don't do it every single night, but it's something new. And there's levels. There's like level 1, level 2, and level 3. And she'll just take these cards out and she'll read me as questions that we ask each other that we would never think about asking each other. Do you know just in the few months that we've tried this new thing, this marriage box card game where we ask each other questions and read them off of a card? I have found out 3 or 4 things about my wife I didn't even know until we're 26 years into our marriage. Switch it up. Spice it up. Do something new. Get out of Missouri. Spend a little bit of money. Go to a big city. Go out in the country. Get an Airbnb. Get a gym membership together. Take a class together. Just switch it up and have fun. And if you already know what you enjoy doing together, but you've gotten out of the habit of doing it, start doing it again. By the way, you know the purpose of making money, right? I'm at this point in my life. The purpose of having money is not so I can buy things for people, but so I can make memories with the people I love the most. So get up off of some of that money, open up your wallet, get out the checkbook, swipe the credit card, spend a couple of dollars and go do something fun. Take some pictures, make some memories, laugh at each other. Marriage is too good to be bored inside that relationship. Don't be bored and don't make busyness an excuse. I've given you a lot to talk about today at lunch. You can talk about pomegranates and fawns and necks and noses and bellies full of wine and stomachs full of wheat. The bottom line is this: let's not take ourselves too seriously, and let's enjoy this blessing of marriage that God has given us. Keep the flame alive. Pray with me. Jesus, thank you so much for the grace you have given us to write a book in the Bible called the Song of Solomon to teach us how to stoke these flames and keep these flames alive. And I pray that Abundant Life would be a church filled with people more in love with Jesus and more in love with their spouse than they've ever been. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.